thank you all for staying for the second day and the second half of the second day. So it's always a bit of a tiring to go through this two-day sessions, but I think this conference is a bit of a different one because this is I go to a lot of conferences for some particular reasons, or but this is for the past year or two, it's been the best one I've gone to. Usually the conference, they tend to be huge. The bigger, the better. The more stages, the more streams of going on, the better. But actually, this one, I'd like to really praise the running remote team for doing a great job in actually getting very focused, very bang on topic for the people here. So I would like to add on to the play here a little bit more on the maybe not so evident theme or something which becomes evident in a little while you've been running your business remotely. So it's more the setup thing, how you incorporate your company, where you do it, how you contract your people outside who are working remotely. So this is something I will address, and e-residency is one of the options that you can use for that. It's of course not solving all the problems in the world, but in some cases it might be a good tool for you to look into and explore if it's the case for your business. So if you walked in, there's this floor with the little panel with your photos and stuff. So I'm actually the only guy with a suit and a tie there. So I think they searched for the picture from internet to mark me as the official. So I think I'm the only government rep here for the whole bunch of people in this house. So this is something which doesn't happen often to me, but it's good that you've been so welcoming and interested in what we're doing. So yeah, and the other thing they did, of course, all other people had 40 minutes, so I had an hour to fill in. So I was thinking, wow, what's that? Is it because my topic is so important? But then I realized that okay, probably not, because so I imagined what might have happened in Igor and his girlfriend's morning coffee. So they're saying, Liz, the girlfriend, was saying that, I have this Estonian guy who might actually talk about e-residency. And Igor was saying, yeah, good, okay, let's give him 10 minutes, he can, do that. And Liz was saying, the Estonians, they usually very slow, they talk very slowly. So don't, let's do it 30 minutes. But if he's a guy, then he needs extra time. So it must be at least 1 hour. So yeah, so that was my imagination, of course, but maybe it happened, I don't know. You can ask Igor later on. Anyways, so to actually understand the e-residency and the Estonian sort of, some call it innovative mindset, I try to open up a little bit of the cultural background for Estonians. It's not that we actually wake up in the morning and start innovating, saying, okay, what should we change in the world today? It's not like that. It's not at all like that. It's quite the opposite. So I come from a country where there's 1.3 million people on a same land plot as Denmark has 5.5, and Netherlands has 16 million people. So for us, actually, we are for centuries been working remotely. So it's not the recent thing, Don't get that wrong. Remote working is not recent. The Estonians had it like 5 centuries ago. So the thing is that you have a house, in the countryside. When you can see your neighbor from your house, they are too near. So that's what happens. So and that's why we also started using the services, because we don't actually want to see the other Estonian. So you have to keep a little bit farther away, And if you can do it on your device, then that's the ideal solution. And if you can send them outside the country and do it, that's even better. So we are the true remote people. So, anyways, yeah. So I'll try and then talk you through the e-residency. But before that, coming a bit closer to today, I'd like to also share a bit of my experience in remote working. So I've been working in trade and investment promotion for past 15 years. Now for Estonian, my own country, but prior to that for British UK Trade and Investment, and before that for the Danish Trade Council. So even then we were starting to actually. So I started in 2004 in the Danish embassy in Estonia. So we started actually trying to collaborate on the Baltic level. So I was sitting in the team. My boss was in Riga. So we were trying to figure out how to do best service our clients best way. So that was quite nice. So so then on I moved to the British system, and I got to be responsible for the Baltic team myself. So I figured out quite quickly that what are the three things you really need to be successful in getting your work done in a situation where you don't sit with the team. You can't sort of be there for them, but you sort of have to work together for same goals. So first thing really, in my view, is that in order to be successful, you need to set your priorities, right? You have to set the goals, the targets, and be very clear about it to your team, what is expected of them, so that they know what's going on. And the second step I learned is that then you have to let go. You have to let them go in a sense that not just say them, this is your goal, you make 100 million and then you walk away. But in a sense that you don't micromanage. You actually go in and allow them to do the stuff for you, because they are the guys who are there. They know the best their markets. They know what needs to be done. So you don't need to go and micromanage the guys. This is what kills them. In many cases, this is what goes wrong with the people, because the managers try to intervene all the time, but this actually leads to the third thing. You have to be there for them. So this is also very important. So if you're remote, very quickly comes the alienation feeling. You feel like, okay, they put me here, they're paying me some salary, they gave me some stuff to do, but so I'm here, so nobody's actually talking to me. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Can I call them, or what's happening? So and then it can actually turn into sort of negative feelings as well. So I've found that I told always on a team, you can always call me, you can email me, let's discuss things. We had also, of course, the weekly meetings and all sorts of that stuff. But the important thing was to be there for them, so that they know if they have a small question, big question, so they can approach you. So this is my sort of takeaway from remote working. Later on, of course, in the Enterprise Estonia, I started building the team of trade reps we had in 15 markets, and that was again a similar feeling with the where you could actually see that the same principles, applying the same principles, you actually get good results out of it. And of course, you have to always be, you have to be in a good stance with the guys, and that actually brings good results. So that's my own experience. Now coming to the topic. At one point, all these headlines started to crop up in the world. So in different news outlets, magazines, blogs, saying that what is this place called Estonia? Where did these guys come out of? What are they doing there? It seems to be producing a lot of good startups. We saw yesterday TransferWise. We have per capita the most startups in Europe, together with the Israelis, I think. But what really hit the world was the fact that e-residency came to being 3.5 years ago. So why was that so important? So this is because sometimes we call the e-residency the Estonian government startup. So if you think about your own government, can you actually imagine them saying that, Donald Trump saying, okay, you have nothing else to do, let's try to set up something cool and see what happens. We don't know yet what it does, but what happened in Estonia was that we had this couple of clever guys. One of them was the CIO of Estonian government, and he went to the prime minister, said, his name was Taavi, and the prime minister's name was Taavi as well. So, Taavi, we in Estonia here, we've with all our, not liking other Estonians, then we've set up all these systems where you can handle things easily, and it's quite efficient and works, And the prime minister Taavi says, that's what it is, And the other Taavi says, I've been going out to the, to the foreign countries, out there. I made some trips. So then he said, and I see that actually people don't have that in other countries. So, why? It's no normal. I mean, it's only normal that you have those things. It's you can pay taxes online, you can vote online, you can do everything. You can assign your kid to the school, you can sell your car online, no problem. It's everywhere, isn't it? And the CIO Taavi says, Prime Minister, that's not the case. So then they said, okay, what if we actually open up the Estonian system to everyone? These services of Estonia to every single country in the world, be it in Fiji or Brazil or wherever, doesn't matter. They can become Estonian e-citizens, e-residents. So that's what happened. They masterminded a bit and got the team together, and we launched 3.5 years ago. So this is what happened then, and we found out that, of course, back then, I mean, none of us had actually a good idea of what is going to happen, where it takes us. We didn't have the technical readiness for, technical answer for every single question. But we got going like a proper startup, and things started to happen. We realized that there's a real demand with guys like you, real demand for managing a business in a way that you want to live your life. You don't want to live, most of the countries in the world, most of the governments today, they act still like not the 20th century, but 19th century, expecting you to live in a country, or be born in a country and live in the very same country and do your business, of course, there. And if you're lucky, you can export a little to the neighboring country. But this is not the case anymore. Nobody does that. People move around. They want to live in Bali. They want to do work for all the cool companies that are here. But they, maybe next day they want to go to Brazil and live there. Why not? But I think what nowadays the e-residency offers is same solutions as were there in the last century for multinationals. So you can run your company, you can do it however you like. You can hire wherever you want people. So it gives you the flexibility to live the life you want. So that's essentially what it is, the e-residency. So a little about this small place we come from. It's only 1.3 million people. So actually, joking aside, the key reason for building these systems for us was the fact that we needed to keep the people working in a productive and doing the good things, not hassling with the papers from one patch to another. So that's where we started to build these services, and to save time for your family or whatever you want to actually do. So not to We closed down all the, not all, but 99% of the service points for whatever you needed to do to hand in some tax returns or whatever. So actually, you can get it the convenience and the fast pace of doing things, and this became a norm. So yeah, we are a part of European Union, also NATO and the Schengen area. So what it is in a more detail, it's actually the cornerstone of the whole thing is the ID card. So this gives you actually the access to all the systems. There's even some countries nowadays who don't have the personal identification code. I think Japan is just rolling out something called My Number, which they looked at the Estonian example for that. And this is what, but many countries have the ID card, but they don't have the similarly good systems. And the reason being that we made it compulsory. So we said everybody who comes to pick up a passport must get an ID card. So that's what happened there. And that gave actually the key for every person to access the systems. And then what happened is slowly, but not very slowly, but gradually every service was online. So you could actually choose, okay, I want to file in an application for something. If I do it online, it's processed quickly and it's free. If I want to do it through the service point, it takes, I don't know, 3 months, and it costs me, I don't know, 25 euros. So that was like a soft push to get people to move into the digital services. And very quickly they found out that this is so convenient. So nobody ever wanted to do it again on offline. Yeah, so since I think it's a sort of a small country thing, when you're from a small country, you realize that actually you can't cope with being isolated in your own. So we are very open to trading, business, all sorts of free movement of labor, capital, whatever in Europe. And I think we were, in 2004 when we joined the EU, we were the only country that had to reduce its sort of openness with accession. All the rest had to open up more. So so that was the case. Yeah, as I mentioned, the cornerstone, the ID card, and this is the E-Residency card. Now, coming to the E-Residency, this is something which many people have heard about, but I'd like to really use this opportunity to give a bit of a walkthrough what it's for, how to get it, and who it can be useful for, so you can actually see. Yeah. So it's basically E-Residency is an individual thing. So it's not a business thing, but you can open up a business with it. So basically, what happens is that it gives you the freedom to live the life, as I said, and because most of us somehow need to make the money in the living. So we probably need a some sort of income, and if you want to move around, then usually there's a lot of people who use that for business purposes. So in reality, what it gives you is the freedom to engage in entrepreneurship and do it remotely, location independently, however you want to say it. So this is issued by the Estonian government. It's a fully government thing. It's not a private initiative as such, and this gives you the backing that actually if you apply for the card, then the Estonian government does the background checks on you. So this is not that they don't trust you, but it's for the sake that some people are not as good as we are here, of course. So they check on the Interpol, they check on the anti-terrorism things and all that, so that all the bunch that's e-residents are actually happy, good people. Right. And also one of the, there was a little bit of talk about transparency earlier. So in Estonia, all the information about the companies is publicly available. So if I want to see who's behind some company, I can always see that. I can see the turnovers, revenues, all about the annual accounts. I can pull out of the database and see who's doing what. So it's really, really transparent in that sense. So today we have around, the number is growing all the time. So as I said, it's a sort of a startup. So the 3 years we've gone to 40,000 plus people, but we're hitting the sort of hockey stick lower part and getting the more and more traction every day. So this 40,000 people come from all over the world, really, literally from every single country in the world. And of course, mostly the biggest number is from Finland, which is because of the geographic and cultural and business proximity. But also second and third are Russia, Ukraine, where there's a bit of a complicated business environment, so they use it for easier handling of their business. And of course, the main reason why people get the residency is the business purpose and to set up a location-independent business. So there's around now even over 6,000 companies with e-residence involvement. So what are the problems we can then solve? So as I said, there's different categories of people who might benefit from it. I believe many of you are also in a sort of a freelance situation where there's where you have sort of people you work for in different parts of the world. It's difficult to receive the payments. The financial services are not very good for you. And all sorts of issues that some people might have depending on where they're from and what they do. Also coming to the situations where it's very, if you have a company already, it might be very costly to administrate it, which is not the case with the e-residency. So, so what you can do with the e-residence as a freelancer, you can set up a trusted company in EU, which maybe, as a rule, people don't think about it. But if you are from, say, I don't know, even from Indonesia, saying that, okay, I'm this guy from Indonesia, I'm very trustworthy, believe me, and if you go with that story to Germany, they say, don't really think so, So if you have an EU entity, then things are, the Germans say, oh, yeah, good. Well, we believe you. So you can disguise yourself to be a EU company, actually. Also, in some cases, it's very difficult to, if you're in e-commerce, for example, it's very difficult to accept payments. For example, in Ukraine, you can't accept euro payments. So people in e-commerce, this is the market they serve, and they have this huge problem. So there's a lot of Ukrainians who actually set up companies in Estonia. They get the e-residency, they set up the company, and then they are good to collect the payments in Estonia, and then later on distribute the profits or whatever they want to do with it. And one of the clear benefits is as well that we like to keep things simple in Estonia. So our tax system is very straightforward, flat. If you make some profit and you want to invest in keep it in the company, then the taxman doesn't take a slice all the time. So only if you take it to private consumption, then we tax it to 20%. Again, I'm sure there's a lot of those in here in this room as well. So again, the same problems that you're moving around. If you're living in Bali, you set up an Indonesian company. You want to go somewhere else, you have to fold it, set it up again in Thailand. Then you set it up there. It's all very complicated, very costly, all that. You don't understand the rules and all that. So, and then you go to, to UK and try to set it up there. So it's all very cumbersome and costly. But with the Estonian company, you can set it up online. You don't have to ever actually visit Estonia. You can administrate it online, and this is actually gives you the freedom to move around as you wish. Yeah. So yeah, I think the local regulations are always a bit of a hassle for not a bit, but a big hassle actually for many people in this situation. So they so in this case, it's actually you do it once, you understand how it works, and then you're good to go for as long as you wish. So then again, yeah, as I said earlier as well, if you're within EU, then usually you don't have that problem. But in many countries still the business environment is quite complicated. It's difficult to even if you're from that country to open it, to run it, to manage it. But having again a company in Estonia would let you access the EU market, of course, and run it location independently, and as well receive payments if you're in, for example, in e-commerce business. So this is actually one of the things I think which could be the case for situations where which we discussed yesterday and today as well. Most of the companies who go remote, they use as we heard, mostly they use contracting for their employees. So this could actually be a easy solution for the employer as well as the employee to get the e-residency set up the companies in Estonia, and you can easily interact with each other. So actually, this is one of the case studies, but I'll actually like to skip that one and give the word to Andy here, who's an e-resident from Latvia. So I didn't tell him earlier, but come to the stage and share your story. Why did you actually become an e-resident and set up the business the way you did?
All right, so actually I'm from a neighboring country, Latvia, down at the bottom, and I'm a remote and location-independent businessman. So the reason I applied for e-residency was it just gave me where should I start? It gave me the option to do all the paperwork with all the contractors that we have remotely. So if you compare that, for example, with Latvia, my home country, we had to pile up papers for each contractor to pay out, right? So we needed to prove them that these are legitimate transactions. With the Estonian system, it just gave us a fairer, easier approach, right? So the goal is to still pay taxes, be transparent, and yeah, make.
Maybe I can also mention what's your business? What do you do?
Yeah, so we're a content writing marketplace that connects clients and writers, meaning that we have a lot of transactions with countries like the States, Australia, and countries within the EU as well. So first of all, we receive a lot of payments, meaning that we needed to give an easy tool or common appearance for the clients. So imagine someone lands on your sales page, right? And if you compare this, for example, with Hong Kong, which we also considered, there's not that many. I'm not sure about right now, but at the time, they didn't have any companies at the level of Stripe or Braintree, and even PayPal was there, but it was, I think, super expensive, right? The commission they took was really high. So imagine you do all this great stuff with marketing, you build up your landing pages, and then someone lands there and is committed to pay you, and then they hit a payment solution that looks like it's from 2000, and obviously the conversion rate. Yeah, there you go, right? That's what happens all the time, right? And then then the trust falls, and that's it, and that hits your conversion rate. So being pragmatic, that was one of the important things for us, being able to provide a consistent, expected process for the visitors and prospective buyers. Yeah, so what was that? Payments, payouts to our partners, and yeah, the whole ease of doing business. It's as easy as your internet banking or yeah, any other tool that you currently use.
Anyone can then ask Andy what's his experience of running a real, being an e-resident and running a company for Estonia. So that's a first-hand experience, which is always much better than me talking about cupcakes. So.
Well, thanks very much, guys. If you have any questions about this, come see me after that.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Thanks. So let's quickly go through how's the process for becoming an e-resident. So basically, you go online to eresident.gov.de. You file your application there. You pay a state fee for 100 euros. And as I said earlier, they will run a background check on you, and you indicate there where you want to collect the card. So we have the card collection can be done in Estonian embassies around the world. In this part of the world, in Southeast Asia, I'm the only government rep for Estonian government. So, the good news is that, well, I think they put me on a most densely populated island in the world as a punishment for, to send me out to, to have my neighbors like very close to me. So I think that might be the situation. At the moment, there's in Beijing, but you can pick up the card also in Singapore. So the consul from Beijing comes to Singapore every quarter for 2 days. So this is a bit of a compromise. It's a little bit, but then you have to time your coming. So when he's there, but at least it's something. So so we can issue in Singapore as well. Right. So next thing you might want to do is to set up the company, which can be done again remotely. You don't have to go to Estonia, but again you go to the website, you you register your company, you make the necessary share capital payment, and basically we also suggest you to choose a business service provider. Because it's they will help you navigate the Estonian system as well, which is fairly simple, but still you need somebody to do that. In Estonian case, if you set up as a e-resident, you set up a company. It's a proper company. There's no difference with any like myself setting up something in Estonia. It's the same, not different, same. So then of course. We don't actually, in many countries, you require the company director or a company secretary, stuff like that, which somebody having some bit of the shares in in your company. But in Estonia, we don't have that. You can only be you can be as a foreigner, you can be the shareholder, but you only need a contact point where they can send you the interaction. So the business service provider comes handy there. And you can do anything you like with it, even buy property or whatever. So it's all quite quite free and available. So yeah, and of course always with the if you set up a company, the next question is, what about the banking? Banking is a bit of an issue at the moment because the banking rules have been becoming much more stringent over the past few years with all the anti-money laundering issues, the terrorism, the international regulators forcing rules on the banks. So at the moment, the story with Estonia is that the traditional commercial banks, you still need to go there to the branch to set it up. And they will do the KYC, face-to-face recognitions, all the stuff they need to do there. But the good news is that you can also set up a online banking, either TransferWise, also e-residency partners with a company called Holvi. And if you go to holvi.com, their website, there's even a special button there saying if you're e-resident, click here, and then they will run you through quite easily. And again, this is only for business banking and not personal. Right. And of course, company administration then is fairly easy. If you set up an online bank, you don't have to ever visit there. So I think that was also one of the reasons we opened it up, because we didn't want the people to come to us, to not very close to us. So we said let them do it from where they are. So, but of course, well, joking aside, I think Estonia is a very good place to visit as well. It's actually quite beautiful, and with a I'm sure you will love it. There's of course 9 months of the year it's gray and dark and muddy because the weather is something like we had today, but with a +1 degree. So yeah. Anyways, this is the website which will lead you to all the resources that you need to actually have about e-residency, and they have tutorial videos how to set up a company, what you need to do, what you need to keep in mind. It will also lead you to the doing business websites where you can see about different sector information and all that you need to know. So it's quite useful information there. So you first I suggest you to run through this, and of course when you have questions, I can always answer them. We also have customer support, which is answering the questions, frequent to ask questions, and so on. And also I hope you've through Slido also submitted some of the questions, so I can also answer them at the moment if you have some